Thank you very much for downloading the 47th episode of the Paltrocast with Darren Paltrowitz. On this episode, I spoke with 3 different musicians who are very successful and have new music to speak of, and that's John Dolmayan from the band System of a Down, Rao from Enter Shikari, and Cherie Curry. First up is my interview with John from System of a Down. He's been in System for over 20 years as its drummer, yet 2020 brings his first ever solo album, and that's called These Gray Men. You could call These Gray Men a covers album, but he and his band, which features a mix of guest vocalists, do these songs in a very original and interesting way. Hearing Serge from System of a Down sing Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads, very, very interesting. And these are also covers by Madonna and Eminem, Two Door Cinema Club. All sorts of genres here are represented. So John and I spoke about These Gray Men. We also spoke about his comic book store in Vegas. And as this was taped in the middle of the COVID-19 quarantine that was kind of required by the majority states, we spoke about what that was like for him. Very nice guy, very interesting guy, and I think you're going to like this one. Hey, it's Darren for your interview at 3:30 Pacific. Still a good time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great. I've listened a lot to These Gray Men, and it's such a great story behind it that you were just looking to have a creative outlet of sorts. But the first thing I wanted to know was whether any of the artists you've covered on the album have reached out to you, or any of the songwriters even.
They haven't yet. I don't know if they're aware of it, to be honest with you. And I was doing an interview, and somebody brought up a point, asked if I had sent them to any of the artists, and I hadn't even thought about that. So yeah, I think I will send it to them just out of respect and see if they enjoy it.
Well, usually publishers of the songs want to have that in their files because then they could pitch it and make you some more money. But it's interesting to hear that that was never even a thought of yours as to what songs get covered and all that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know why. It just never occurred to me because I think covers are fun and they should be done without, any pretenses and just enjoyed. But you're right. Out of respect, I should actually send it to them, and I would love to hear what they think of it. I hope that they would enjoy it because I was inspired by their originals. So,
while the album might get pigeonholed as a covers album, it's actually really original from start to finish. For example, you change up the tempo on Road to Nowhere pretty early into the song, but I read that you came up with a lot of the tempos based on hearing in your head how the singer might sing them, for example. Yet the last song on the album, Rock Bottom, is just totally original. When in the whole process did you come up with Rock Bottom?
I like that Eminem song a lot. And when I listen to it, I love his syncopation. That's what makes Eminem so special, is the way he syncopates his vocals. He's very much like a drummer in that way. And but I also thought it would be cool to put a Latin vibe on it because I originally intended for Santana to be on that. I know that's wishful thinking, but I like to aim high in life, whenever possible. So I reached out to Santana. I never heard anything back on it. It would have been cool to have him play on it, but maybe he may one day. And I decided just to put it out as an instrumental, primarily because people have been asking me for a drum solo for a long time. So I felt this was a great opportunity to fulfill that need for people to hear a drum solo. And the Latin vibe of the song made it easier to segue into the drum solo.
And I read that you pared down the track listing from 30 to 40 different songs. Did you let the lead singers choose which song they were going to be singing on, or did you say, here's your track?
Yeah, I had songs picked for the lead singers, either by the way they sang, what I thought they were capable of, the tone of their voice, or overall just the vibe of the song as it came out after working on it and putting our own taste on it and our own spin on the songs. So I kind of picked each song for each singer. With that being said, there were plenty of songs that I picked for other singers that didn't get recorded because the singers weren't available, or did get recorded and just didn't feel right when they were done. So, I didn't release them. I tried to kind of, at best, put out what I felt was the best representation of both the singers that sang on them and the originals themselves. For example, there was a song that I really liked, worked on it, even had a singer come in and sing it. He did a great job. but I just felt like it wasn't different enough from the original. It wasn't interesting enough in general to put it out. So, just you have to be your harshest critic, your own harshest critic in general. And that's what I tried to do.
And you're definitely all over the place in the best of ways in terms of choosing artists. For example, Two Door Cinema Club, great band. I never think of them in the same sentence as, say, AFI or Madonna. Has that always been how you've been as a music listener and a music fan, listening to everything?
Yeah, I'm really open to music, and I listen to everything from like Sia when it concerns pop, Rihanna, to the Rolling Stones, to Beethoven, and that could be just in one day. I'm also a comic book writer now. I've started my own series, so I listen to music when I write, and generally speaking, I listen to classical. So it really is all over the place. I know a lot of people say they have a diverse range of music to listen to, but truly mine is diverse in that anytime you're hanging out with me, you might be listening to something completely different.
Well, you beat me to it. I was about to ask about the comic book drum set that you'd customized a decade or so ago. Is that still being played these days?
I only played it on one tour just because I was so afraid something would happen to it. It's pretty easy to steal stuff, and that's irreplaceable. So I just played on the one tour, and now I have it displayed at my comic book store in Las Vegas.
Wow. Where in Las Vegas is your comic book store? I wasn't aware that you had one.
It's in Southwest Las Vegas. It's called Torpedo Comics. Right now, we're not open to the public, but we have an Instagram account and a Facebook account, and we do live sales promoting comic books, getting through this time when people are at home bored. It's a great way to interact with other fans and buy books and buy interesting things and items, and we have a lot of cool stuff happening.
When in your life did you get into comic books versus music?
I started wanting to play drums when I was about 2, and I discovered my love for comics when I'm 12.
Got it. Now, a lot of the people that are into comics and music also have that wrestling and MMA overlap. Do you have that as well?
Not really. I liked wrestling when I was younger. MMA, I'll watch a fight maybe every 2 years. I'm more of a football fan when it comes to sports. So, there's only so much time in a day, and I have family I want to hang out with and spend time with the kids. So, I limit it to the 6 months or so that football's on, and I really enjoy watching that effort. Plus, I play football, and I enjoyed playing football, so I think I relate to it more.
Makes sense to me. So coming back to the music here, since you had all those songs that you were even brainstorming for the first album, have you even thought about doing a second album yet?
Yeah, I may not do a full album or EP, but instead just release songs here and there. There's a song that I really want to cover that I'm working with my friend Frankie Perez, who also played in Scars on Broadway and sang one of the songs on this album, Del Shannon song actually, called Runaway. But he won't leave the house right now, so as soon as things calm down, we're going to get together and record at least one more song.
And yeah, his track Runaway is great. I remember the Traveling Wilburys themselves covered that one back in the day. And going back into your musical exploration, were you a Kiss fan or a hair metal fan? Did you transition from that stuff?
I wouldn't say I was a massive Kiss fan or a hair metal fan. I did like some songs, and I liked some hair metal bands. But I was always a drummer, so I looked at it from a drummer's perspective, and those bands just didn't really have drumming that I could look up to or emulate. It was just a little too basic for me. And too many drummers during those eras trying to replicate what Zeppelin did, which is impossible. Bonham had touch more than anything else, and he's the most imitated drummer of all time. But imitated, but nobody mastered it like he did, And it really was just the way he hit the drums.
And I hear a lot of Keith Moon in your playing. I'm not sure if he was one of your main influences there, but you hit hard like Bonham, yet you do the kind of Keith Moon fills. Does that require staying in shape or doing a lot of fitness-oriented stuff? You mentioned being a football player before.
Well, a lot of it is muscle memory. When I was a football player, I only weighed 110 pounds, so it's not like I was running people over. But, yeah, a lot of it is muscle memory. I stay in decent shape. I work out, trying to lose a couple pounds like everybody else is. Got the dad bods going. But in general, I'm in pretty good shape, and I got 30 years of playing drums, and after 2 weeks of playing, I'm pretty much back to form.
And do you know any other musical projects that you're planning on doing besides this album? I did ask you about the new album and maybe working with Frankie, but could we ever see an all-star touring kind of band where you're at the center of it?
You know what? I would certainly be open to that. I gotten offers to do a couple things that just weren't right, but if it was the right offer, I would certainly do it. It takes a lot to get me away from my kids and my wife and family. But for the right project, I would certainly consider.
Of course, everyone in the world is going to ask you the status of System, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to ask, will we see more from System of a Down in the future, whether it's touring or recording?
Probably just touring. I don't see us recording. We're pretty stupid about that. We haven't released an album in 15 years. And I think the people in my band are getting more stubborn, not less stubborn. So it's pretty unlikely to happen.
But you're the guy who was able to tour, even when System wasn't touring in a way. So I take it that you do like the road, even if you want to be home with family.
I enjoy the part where I get to play live in front of people and share that experience with them and share, the love of music. So, that I do enjoy and will always enjoy, whether it's with System or another project.
And the little I've spoken with you, it sounds like you're happy with the whole quarantine in the sense of getting to be home with family.
Yeah, I don't like what's happening to the economy and obviously, concerned with people's health. I don't know how much of this is really necessary. I don't know how much of an impact this will really have. But, to err on the side of caution is probably a good idea. And you just hope that people can get out of this financially. That's really all I'm concerned with.
Makes sense to me. So in closing, John, any last words for the kids?
You know what? Pursue your dreams. Just be smart about it. And generally speaking, it's not necessarily the person with the most talent that makes it, but the person with the most drive.
Way aside from all that, my wife got to see you guys at Birch Hill in New Jersey. I'm going to say 97, 98. So you guys definitely made it.
Ozfest, yeah. Those were the Ozfest days. Hey, you know what? You just onward and upward. Do the best you can in life. And try not to limit yourself because if you don't have limits, you'll achieve great things. Even if it isn't exactly what you envisioned, you'll still achieve something great.
Great. Well, the next time we're in Vegas, which is hopefully in the near future, we will be going to your store. So thank you very much for your time. And really, congratulations on this album. It's really, really something to be proud of.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks, John. Take care.